Hello, everybody. I'm joined today by Jude Connelly of Nirvana Upfitters. Jude and us have been speaking for a while now, and we've learned a lot about his business, and we thought it'd be great to share it with yourselves. So I'll immediately hand over to Jude and say, Jude, welcome. It's great to see you. Tell us a little bit more about Nirvana Upfitters.
Thanks, Richard. Yeah, it's a pleasure to speak with you today. Thanks for having me on. Um, well, I guess there's a lot to say. When we were talking a little bit about where things started in the origins, so it's
Yeah.
a good
How did we
place
get
to.
here?
How did we get here? Um, yeah, van life I would say, is pretty synonymous with adventure, and I think that pairs well with sort of my upbringing in my life. Um, I was very fortunate to have been raised and brought up in a family that really values outdoor adventure and just exploration. I was born in Boulder, Colorado, and my folks were
You're
young.
into climbing, right?
I'm sorry.
Climbing's your gig, right?
Climbing is my gig these days. Yes.
Yeah. Was it always, or did you start on just hiking and?
Yeah, I was. That's an interesting question. I actually started climbing as a little segue from that story. I started climbing when I was about 12 years old, living outside of Pittsburgh,
Oh, cool.
and I when we moved back to New England, to Massachusetts, it kind of fell off my radar. There wasn't great access to climbing gyms. I wasn't climbing. I didn't have many climbing partners as being, a young kid, and my folks were very busy with. My dad had his own business, and my mother was busy
Yeah.
doing all the things that my mother does, whom you'll get a chance to meet when we go out into the shop in a little while.
Oh, Connolly. Awesome.
And yeah, after, I guess it was after college, we were kind of getting together with a couple of the old college buddies, and we decided to go up to New Hampshire for a weekend and have a day of climbing. And it's funny, kind of like it clicked back to me. And climbing is one of those things that sort of, you either just, it's not you, or you absolutely love it. And for me, I absolutely love it, and it just took over my life. And I'm busy doing a lot of other things these days, but it certainly is a mainstay in my life these days.
I try and do it from time to time, but I do that cat thing where you kind of cling to the wall and my muscles give up after about 10 minutes. So what little muscles I have, as you can see, they're like little chicken wings. Anyway, back to the main theme. So Nirvana Upfitters, where were we?
Yeah, so like I was saying, I was very lucky to grow up, just kind of exposed to a lot of outdoor exploration and adventure. My folks had us out at a very, very early age doing, backpacking, hiking, canoe trips, all sorts of fun things. We moved east, and really, as I aged into childhood, into middle school, adolescence, I continued doing that with my family and our friends, and then ultimately on my own and with my own friends. And I stayed local for college. I studied actually biology and chemistry. I just really have always enjoyed the outdoors, the environment, part of the whole thing with exploration and adventure. So it paired well with my kind of personality and passions.
Yeah.
And I again stayed local after college. I worked for a number of biotech pharmaceutical companies in Boston, which is, for those that don't know, is just a huge pharmaceutical mecca.
Yeah.
It's a great place to be. And I worked for a couple of startup companies that were they're phenomenal businesses doing research on biodegradable chemicals and biodegradable plastics, producing some.
Is really important these days. Wow.
It was fascinating work, and it's a tough market. Costs and fighting the petroleum companies and everyone else who's majorly invested in the traditional style plastics.
Yeah.
It's a tough gig, but it's great research, and I think that it is absolutely the future, as a lot of people subscribe to.
Mm.
And then I worked for a little while in a pharmaceutical company doing therapeutical research on C. diff, which is a really nasty enterobacteria that can infect humans and have pretty devastating repercussions.
Oh, wow.
That was my much more analytical and scientific side of me.
Smart cookie, man. Oh, I got a fly flying around. That's pretty impressive stuff, man. That's some heavy science. Good. Kudos.
It's fascinating stuff. I love science, and it's part of why I love technical fields like what we're doing here, and engineering, designing, building, and using cool materials, and just kind of just being even to say the word again, adventurous in our pursuit of building and trying new things, bringing new products in, and exploring new ways to do things.
Innovating is fun, right? I mean, you're basically doing new stuff. It's almost like exploring with knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So we sort of touched upon it, but when climbing came back into my life, it really opened up my world and my thought process around my travel.
Mm-hmm.
At a similar time, in 2013, I actually, my older brother, who was 30 at the time, was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer, and we lost him. And he left behind his family, his wife, and his 3 kids, who are just phenomenal. Dylan was an extremely close person to me. We were just a couple 8 years apart, and he was very much like myself, adventurous, really driven in the outdoor activities, and an amazing individual. And that was a big turning point for me. Obviously, it's a very traumatic thing for anyone to go through, for the entire family,
especially if you're that close to them as well.
Yeah. So it was a bit of a dark time, around that year, and in the aftermath. I decided to take some time off from my career, and I with one of our very oldest friends, I actually went over to Europe. We went and hiked around and spent some time in the Swiss Alps for about a month, and it just kind of took a lot of time to kind of think about my future, what I was doing, what are my values stood, and how I wanted to kind of live my life. And ultimately, when I came back, I think I had made the decision that I needed something. As much as I love the sciences and I love the pursuit of what I had been working on and what I was doing, my day-to-day satisfaction and just livelihood wasn't heading in the direction that I needed it to. So I took a step back and I said, I'm going to try something else. And I enrolled in a specialty woodcraft program up in northern Vermont, the school called Yes Tomorrow. Very interesting, very cool, innovative, sort of alternative school. Phenomenal people, phenomenal culture, phenomenal, experience. And it was a great opportunity for me. I really was able to take my scientific approach and kind of technical background and apply that to understanding everything from raising a forest plot to felling the wood to how to care for the lumber and mill it.
Oh, wow.
To
it was really the whole shebang, right? From not just like working with wood, it's working with trees to making them into wood.
Yes Tomorrow is a phenomenal outfit. They really do kind of instill in their students and their partners a full understanding of the material we're working with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wood isn't just wood. You go to the lumber store, you go to the big box store, and yeah, it's sitting on the shelf, but it comes from somewhere, and it's part of the environment, and it's a phenomenal resource that we're lucky to be able to work with. And
Do you know what the really good thing about wood is? It grows on trees. Money doesn't grow on trees. It does if you sell wood.
I guess in some sense, you know, if the paper's made from wood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, I had a great time learning skill set of, you know, design as well as hand toolery, hand cut joinery, and you know, power tools at that school. When I finished, I moved back home down to Massachusetts and started. Honestly, I started working for a friend of mine who's actually our shop lead here. I him, you know, several years later and let him know what was going on, and he was really fascinated, and he came on board as my full-time shop lead.
Awesome.
He's a phenomenal guy and a really talented, you know, third generation woodworker, and I learned a ton from him, and we have a very similar mindset in terms of approach to building, and that certainly helps our pairing in, you know, in the business here. Yeah, so I was able to practice some of those skills and then turn them into my own projects and work, and ultimately was just sort of working on my own for a few years. At some point in time, and this is where it kind of segues back to the climbing and how it's influenced my life. Climbing, as I mentioned, had kind of I would say it sort of readjusted how I was able to view travel. I've always loved travel. Most people do. It's just a phenomenal way to see the world.
Expands your horizon for sure. Yeah.
But climbing really brought in a new element of exploration. There were new destinations that I wanted to go to just for the climbing, and you know, beyond that, interacting with the communities, either locally with, you know, the climbing community here, or regionally, or even internationally. It blew my mind that, you know, for the most part, the climbing community to me is just this sort of self-selecting atmosphere of just very genuine, interesting, fun people. And so the travel became very natural, and you know, the want and desire to travel for rock climbing. Part of that I was very quickly exposed to. I knew it from when I was traveling in Europe, as well as these trips that I've taken out west, that a lot of folks traveled in vans, and you know, back then it wasn't what it is today, right? Yeah. It was happening, and it was absolutely prevalent. The industry was not the same, and it wasn't as mainstream. So I did become aware of the fact that, you know, a lot of folks car camped, truck camped, and van camped. And I became to kind of bring this vision together for myself that, you know, I'd love to be able to do some of that myself. And I think I have the ability to put a design together and build one of these vans out so that myself and my family can travel in it. Ultimately, that ended up being the case. In 2015, my folks and I actually we purchased a brand new Mercedes 4x4 Sprinter. Is the first year that the 4x4 was out in.
Well, you went all in on the off-roader. Wow, that's like everybody's dream van. You can't even get them in the UK. They're like fairy dust.
Right for it, yeah. And you know, that summer I spent 4 months. Well, I guess it was longer than that, but 4 months building it. Spent some time designing it.
Pre YouTube, pre how-to video, pre Greg Virgo.
Right, that's right. I was pooling all of my my resources. You know, I had taken a stint during college away from my studies to do actually a auto mechanics program. So I've kind of, you know, touched on a lot of different learning opportunities and skill sets from, building to auto mechanics to electrical, to the technical stuff of science. And I pulled all that stuff together, and put the design together. And my girlfriend helped put this thing together and build it. And it was a really fun time. We built it out of my folks' driveway in Central. And it was probably the end of September or early October that we loaded the van up, which is dubbed the Wandering Angus. Awesome. And we headed off, and we were actually moving her. She had finished her studies in Boston a year prior and had been working close by, but was moving home to the West Coast, to Santa Cruz. And so we loaded everything up, all of her stuff, my gear, and we had adopted a dog, so we loaded Rocky up, who comes into the shop a bit these days. Oh, and wow. We headed off, and part of the trip was to just really explore a lot of the country, do some rock climbing, do some, just adventuring.
Yeah.
And take our time. And, ultimately.
One question: why the Wandering Angus?
So that's really more of a question from my father, actually. It's a reference to an old Yeats poem. My dad is a poet, and is an awesome guy, but he had an affinity to this poem and decided to take the name on it.
Nice. And I thought it was drives like a cow. It's full of stuff. So I was like, we got Angus beef here. I was like, yeah, it's terrible to drive. No. Okay. It's far more intellectual than what I was thinking. Awesome. Right. Awesome. So you head out west, you with all your stuff and the dogs, in Wandering Angus. And then and then carry on. Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, so really we were driving across west. We went and visited some family of mine in Pennsylvania. We went through Kentucky, spent some time rock climbing in the Red River Gorge, explored through Kansas into Colorado, spent time in the Rockies and Utah, exploring national parks, and down through I guess we went down through Nevada, and then up into Southern California, and finally wound up in the Bay Area, or Southern Bay Area. That was it was my first time out to the her neck of the woods in Santa Cruz, and spending some time in the Bay Area. So we stayed there doing some traveling for a few months, and then I took it. I drove home. She stayed there. And I did a little bit more adventuring on the way home, stopped and visited some more folks and explored some more areas. And it was a nice time for me to kind of really spend some time thinking about my next steps and what the experience of designing and building the van was, and what the travel was like for me. I hadn't necessarily, put pen to paper or even thought to ambition on this prior to this, but those long days driving in a van by yourself, I was thinking a lot. And I think I recognized that at the time this was a big thing, and I loved it. And that, while there were a number of these companies out west, there were very few of them, if any, back east at that time.
Yeah.
Very sprinkled. And I realized that there could be an opportunity there. And beyond that, really what determined, I think the basis of what Nirvana is, who Nirvana Upfitters is mm-hmm. The time I spent designing the van, the time I spent building the van, and then the time I spent actually traveling in it and interacting with just different communities, different towns, and people that you sort of don't expect to always get along with, because they might live in a different place and have a different lifestyle and have different political views or whatever it is. They live a different existence. When you get to the ground level and you're spending time with those types of people and interacting, more often than not, you find that you sync up and you really start to understand why people are the way they are. And that experience to me was a bit mesmerizing. And I think that I realized that there's actually value added to that. You know, I think that the community as a whole benefits from those types of interactions. And there's just, I mean, the United States, as much as there's amazing places all over the world that I want to go travel, it really also blew my mind at how amazing of a place that, you know, I get to live in. I know you're across the pond, but it's a special place with some incredibly amazing geographical locations and formations, and most people take it for granted unless they're out there exploring it. And to be able to put all that together, you know, talking to folks that you know were blown away by what I had done with the van and the travels and the stories that I had told them, I realized that they actually also seek to do something very similar in, you know, in talking to them. And that's where really it kind of clicked. And on my travels home, I was like, wow, I think that there really is an opportunity to this. I've got to put my, you know, my brain to work and figure out if I can, you know, potentially put something together and start building vans, you know.
That's pretty cool, man.
You
know what the really cool thing is? You drove across the country and you had time to yourself, and you came back and you were a cool van builder. I went around traveling and I came back and I make toilets now.
Cool toilets.
Very cool toilets. It's the shit, man. That's pretty cool. That's a really cool. I'd go with that. I really found one of the journey that I'm actually still on with CompoCloset. I think the people that you meet, like yourselves, like all the other people that we interact with, I just really enjoy it, which is why I love these podcasts. I think it's really cool. But yeah, I think doing something for yourself like that and converting your van and then experiencing it and then going, actually, I can help other people actually achieve that ambition. I'm totally with you. I think it's having a camper van that I can chuck my bike in and go and explore on my bike, because that's my gig, as we were saying. It's really liberating, and I think when people experience that, it's really cool. In fact, I'm looking outside at my dad's camper van. He just swapped out a caravan for a camper van. He literally just christened it with his first, just a couple of days away. So yeah, and they came back, and after months of COVID, they haven't been away since the start, and they're just like, oh my God, we experienced the world again, and they realized what's out there. So it's really cool. Cool. Right, back to you. Right, so we come back, we're making camper vans, or we're planning to, we're thinking about it. It's a fledgling idea.
Yeah, and you know, that what I was sort of saying is that journey of you know, building, designing, interacting with people, and traveling was kind of the catalyst to get my engine, you know, thinking in this direction. It also was really what led me to the idea of like, what Nirvana is going to be all about is kindling passions, right? People want to do this type of thing, and what I can do is take their dreams and create a reality to make that happen.
Enable it, right? Yeah, you're an enabler, as many people would not like to be. But that's cool. The good enablers.
So, you know, so I came home, and it didn't happen for 2.5 years. I kept working on my own, and, you know, just kind of trying to figure out how, you know, what costs would be to have a place, and how do you start a company? How do you run a company? I mean,
how'd you get that first client?
Yeah, the first client actually was, I was very fortunate to, again, climbing community here. Had a friend from local climbing gym that had been talking to a friend or a classmate from a yoga class that was kind of starting to think about, you know, leaving her condo behind or selling it, and kind of transitioning to a mobile operation and going exploring. And you know, van life was starting to kind of tick in certain communities, and she introduced me to this young woman, and we had a couple of interactions and discussions around what she was potentially thinking about doing and what I could potentially do for her. Ultimately, we decided she wanted to work with me and I wanted to work with her, and we got a design together, and I put the van together, and that was the first Nirvana van. It started in my folks' driveway, and the winter was coming, and I had to rent a shop immediately. So I did that, and we've been here ever since. We've kind of expanded several times within the space we're in now. And
you did one of the first van life vans, right? Like 2017, it's not quite right, and then boom, you were there. You found somebody who's like, yeah, I kind of want this like digital. I want to be a more nomadic lifestyle, and there you were. That's pretty cool. Claim to fame, man.
I don't know that we can take credit for one of the very van life vans, but it was definitely pretty early on in this current atmosphere of what van life. Yeah, I mean, it's the same as it was for me when I was building our own family van. It was just as fun, that design process, and it was actually a little bit different piece of it because now I was interacting with someone else, right? And I really got to bring together my own experiences and have a conversation with them to understand how that would benefit them and give them experiential design, and put it together, and she hit the road, and then I was off and running with other clients behind that.
Awesome. So when you're setting out a van, good tip for anybody thinking about doing their own then. So when you're thinking of your van layout, what are the key questions that you think you should ask yourself, or what are the key questions you need to answer that would dictate what kind of features and layout you might want?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have a lot of different approaches to this, and to be honest with you, I don't know what all of the other professional businesses and upfitting businesses, how their approach is to it. My approach comes from what we've talked about thus far. It's about, right, I'm looking to create a vision and a reality for people to pursue their dreams. And I don't think that's dissimilar from a lot of folks that are out there, but the conversation for me really starts on understanding the person. I can't put together a phenomenal design for them unless I understand who they are, what their lifestyle is, and what they're all about, what they want to do. And so the conversation starts there. And then beyond that, generally people these days that are interested in getting into a van have put a little bit of thought into it. They know that they want, the platform bed in the back, or they want a Murphy bed to be able to do a walkthrough or whatever they want to do. And we take it from there. We start with design. So the build process for a custom van with Nirvana Upfitters is actually, it's just broken into 3 processes. So the first process is it's just early stage interaction and generating a shared understanding. The second phase is the design phase. It's a much more involved, intricate set of discussions around a layout, generate modeling for that, roll in componentry and appliances, and make modifications to the model based on selections. And then we kind of roll in aesthetics and materials, and all the while keeping track of what the electrical end of it's going to be, ultimately lining up with a nice package of how to put this thing together.
Cool.
And so to those folks thinking about that, I would say everyone's life is different. You're obviously pursuing this avenue of travel and existence for a specific reason. So think about how, like, what van is going to be for you, where you're going to take it, how you're going to live in it, and don't think about it just as like I'm going to sleep in it and I'm going to travel in it. What am I going to be bringing with me? How does that design need to function? Are there things that my life is going to change? Am I going to have a child, or want to bring a third passenger? Do I need the room for that? Do I have to have that bathroom stall because it takes up a lot of space? Everyone loves that hot shower inside. but are there ways to, create functionality with a smaller footprint? Or, I think the key to a lot of great design is, mastering multifunctionality.
Yeah, I guess so my experience converting this van, I did everything wrong, like everything. Like the water tank's over there, and I planned for it to be over here, and I was like, oh man, I can't get one. So anyway, everything's backwards. By the way, when I come to sell it, it's all amazing. But no, sorry, Morrison, I won't sell you. But having somebody who's actually built a van before and being able to plan ahead and go, right, we're going to run the wiring, and you can keep track of all those things, where I was kind of thinking like, where am I going to put this? And having done it myself and designed it for exactly what I wanted, despite the fact that I got it completely backwards, it is what you want. And I think that's 100%. Like if you're going to go for a camper van, or you want to live in a van or a space, working with a builder like yourself to get it right for you and how you will use it is actually invaluable. It's such a small space to have it fit you perfectly. It's like a glove. It's really recommended.
And that's why Nirvana Upfitters really is focused on, I kind of harp on the term kindling passions, but that lives at the forefront of what we do. We're building, the heart of the business is building custom vans. We do other things as well. We do componentry work. We do what we refer to as component vans, which are kits. But our custom vans are really where we can do just what you're speaking about, right? Yeah. We can design and build the way that's going to best suit and support a lifestyle. And to your point about, when you build things and you want things here and where to put things, I would say to the kind of the first timers and the DIYers out there, it's a lot, right? And I don't think anyone's necessarily incapable of doing it. It just takes a lot of time to kind of mock things up, plan things out, understand what you're up against. And we run into a lot of folks, and I'm sure this is kind of par for the core, but they jump into things and then they realize quickly that they're they're in over their head, and you really you've got to take a step back and you've got to think about it and you've got to plan. These aren't, the vans that we're building are not something you can just slap together, right? They need to be thoughtfully put together. And
having seen them and having built one that's nowhere near as good, I can fully agree with that. When they say don't try this at home, you can try it. You ain't gonna succeed.
Honestly, speaking from experience, even though when you do plan things out very well and design things, engineer things, and model things out, stuff comes up, stuff changes, and you've got to adapt. And that's part of the experience of having done it before, and having the skill sets of whatever it be, the building aspects or the redesign, or just kind of different approaches that can be helpful.
That makes me feel better. I'm glad I don't feel quite so bad that my van's back to front and I have to cross the water thing underneath. Cool. So what's your favorite part of a build? What's the cool bit? The plan, or the doing, or the finished result?
The unveiling. Come on.
Oh yeah. The reveal, the big reveal. That must be pretty satisfying, actually, giving it to a customer and watching them go, yeah, that's on the money. That's pretty cool, eh?
It's a lot of fun to see the reaction of clients. A lot of times people get to come in and see, a check-in if they live locally, but we've had, clients from across the country. That we had a client from last year from Idaho, which is, I don't know, 2,000 miles from here. Their van was delivered to us by the dealership. They never saw it. They never test drove it. They test drove vans out west. And they never saw their van until they flew in for pickup.
Wow.
And the pickup is a whole nother story. It was actually an interesting debacle. Save for the next time, but in the end, it went phenomenally and flawlessly, and it was very fun. They're phenomenal people, and cool. But it was just they literally saw the modeling, but they never saw the van. And so when
a lot of trust, man.
Like they start heading back off, driving home, and they're like, well,
2,000 miles to go. Let's go.
and
Put your foot down, Jerry.
the kind of the follow-up to that is, they interact with us from time to time and send us photos, and we hear from them about the adventures that they've gone on, and the stories that they tell. And that's really the rewarding piece of it to me and the whole team. It's so great to see that.
Man, you're gonna make me cry. That's awesome. That is really cool. And you specialize in, or one of your things actually is you're very sustainable in the products you use. So how about like sourcing those products? Is that a challenge for you guys? Do you have to incorporate into the build and the design?
Yeah, it's definitely part of the conversation. Everyone kind of has their own thought set on what they want their van to be like on the interior. And it's my job to kind of guide them in that discussion of the offerings, what materials we can use and what we recommend, and keep in mind a kind of a conscientious approach to using green and ecologically sourced materials. As we talked about, my background is really in sciences, and I really value the environment. I think a lot of my customers do, and I think it's just a responsible mindset as a business to offer and kind of cater to a greener side of building, as a lot of builders across the world have, whether it be vans to skyscrapers.
Yeah, I think it's hopefully it continues to gain traction, because there's a whole lot of crazy stuff going on right now. So fingers crossed we can fix some of it with all being a bit more sustainable, a bit greener.
But to your question about the sourcing, products are harder to get. I mean, that's across the board, whether it be eco-friendly or not. COVID obviously has had its impact on all of us in terms of supply chain. But some stuff is, a lot of these eco products are manufactured overseas, and getting them over here. I mean, shipping container debacle that's been happening in the past year has really slowed things down, and freight costs have skyrocketed, and wait times change what we've got to do to schedule our projects to know when we're going to get materials here. And it's definitely something we have to be aware of and manage, but it hasn't been a huge threat yet.
Cool. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, the past few years, that's a year and a bit now. Oh my gosh, what a challenge. It's just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, they parked a container across the canal. That was a bit of a curveball for everybody. Next question then. So let's go for, what's your favorite build that you've ever done? And if you can't pick one and you don't want to be favorite, that's cool.
I've thought about this a lot, and I feel like every time I think about it, I have a different response internally. I think that to be completely fair with you and give you an answer, my favorite build was the van I built for my family, mostly because it was such a learning and fun experience. And what I was able to do with it. The vans that we've built, as Nirvana Upfitters, have all been so much fun too. But there was a little bit, when you're building your own thing, you're learning a lot more magic. It was a little bit more, a little more heart there. A little bit more came out of me, I guess.
And you mentioned you were doing it with your partner as well, and your family on your driveway. I know that pain. I was there. Actually, it was really magical to do mine with my dad. It was awesome. Yeah.
There's this piece of that, we have some photos of back in that summer, and our dog Rocky, we hadn't even completed the van, and Rocky was sitting up in the passenger seat like, load it up, let's go.
What are you waiting for? I'm good, let's go.
But as I mentioned, I think about that a lot, and to give you a kind of the solid answer, I think that's it. But a more wide angle answer is, honestly, my favorite van is the next van, because I love interacting with new clients. I love new people, and I love designing with them and understanding like how we can be creative and outside the box to meet their needs. So kind of a two-part answer for you.
Cool, man. No, that's awesome. I'm thinking maybe it's time for a workshop tour. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we go and see where the magic happens?
We can make that happen.
Awesome.
Some of the mat. Well, why don't I do this? Why don't I flip the camera around, because you're gonna want to see things here.
Yeah, and then you can see what we're seeing. There we go.
Some of the magic happens right here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The fun magic
on
right
the
there.
phone. On the computer. Well, this is my office.
It's remarkably
My girlfriend
tidy.
came in and set this up for me. She did an awesome job.
Very
And I don't know
cool.
if you probably won't know this, but I have a thing about wolves. I just love wolves. So I've got wolves all over the place.
Very cool.
There's more wolves over there.
Is your dog a wolf?
No, we do have a husky though.
Okay, that's practically a wolf.
Practically. Well, I'm gonna walk outside and I'm gonna start out here. How about that?
Cool.
So we're in this we're in a very cool building. We're in an old manufacturing building that is still shared with the manufacturing company that does injection molding combs. So
cool.
Everywhere all over the world, you're probably holding, you go to the store or you go to the hair salon, there's probably a plastic comb in your hand, or in the barber salon hand, that came from this factory.
No way. I could do with a new brush and a comb.
So our shop exists, but beyond the office, we pull all of our vans back through this area and we've got our main office door here. We come in, we've got our kind of just hangout room, some stuff up on the walls.
Cool.
Our desks. Here's my mother, Mary.
Hi, Mary.
Hello.
She's the I often refer to as the wizardess of the shop. She wears a lot of hats, everything from sales to all of our custom upholstery and blinds and different things. She crushes everything she does here.
So where are we now? We've gone through and there we go.
Help at all?
Yeah.
All right, great. Yeah, so we came out of the office and we're now into the shop space. We basically have, just kind of a staging area, where parts come in and get placed before they go on the racks. We've got a little locker set up for the guys, a shop bathroom, slop sink, and then we start to have a bunch of racks for some upholstery, some stock materials, some other parts and whatnot from different projects and things here. I think this actually came out of our van. We purchased a crew van back in 2015, so that's been here ever since. And then we've got a bunch of just material for projects, upcoming projects here. Most of this is for what I refer to as component projects, which are kind of not full builds. They're not custom builds. They're just an electrical system or an event fan install or something of that nature to help the DIY builders, because that's a big part of it. As a company, we love doing our custom vans, but I really do want to support the industry and the community as best we can.
Cutting holes in a van is terrifying. Putting a drill through something that's that expensive for the first time, you're like, oh, please be in the right place. So yeah.
And so as we move in here, it's probably going to be a little loud because we got the manufacturing equipment on the other side of the wall here, beyond that wall. But I'll do my best to speak up. So we have kind of a clean work area over here. We do a lot of the upholstery on this giant table we put together. We've got our industrial sewing machine over here, the fabricator. This is kind of just like a wide open space. Occasionally we bring in a smaller van here if we need to have another project in the shop. Some lumber, stock lumber that we've got here.
more materials and whatnot. Sheet goods over here. We have a bunch of plywood for upcoming projects and current projects in the shop right now that we store. And now we walk through the wall and we're into the really the workshop, the wood shop.
That is a wicked space. Look at the size of those tables. I'm so jealous. That looks so cool. And it's well lit as well. You can actually see what you're doing.
It's pretty well lit. The van space is actually a little bit more updated. We've got some new lights that we put in there this spring. And it's funny, we thought this was well lit until we did the upgrades, and you'll see when we walk into the other space. Now we're like, can't even see over here.
Awesome.
But yeah, we've got, it's pretty well set up at this point. We've got kind of your standard woodworking equipment here, a couple table saws, kind of our cabinet saw, and then just a backup cabinet saw, several miter saws set up for, fine woodworking, kind of rough cutting, and then a metal saw, storage jigs, templates, cabinets. We got Alex in here in the background.
Hi, Alex.
He's working on some bamboo plywood cabinet pieces right here. We got some cutouts going up for an electrical system that we're putting together in an adventure wagon kit. And then looks like he's got a door here for access.
I'm a big fan of that material, actually. It's really cool.
Yeah, this is phenomenal material. We enjoy working with this. It has very cool edge grain too. You've probably seen this stuff before. It's similar to what you can get in an adventure wagon kit and some of the other offerings from the industry companies, but it's a cool thing. And then so we've got a router table, planer, joiner, bandsaw, drill press,
lots of toys,
collection, all sorts of toys you can get yourself into trouble with.
Yeah.
Track saws, and that's the wood shop. That's the wood shop. There's a bunch of hand tools, just storage everywhere, basically.
And you've got the space to actually move 8x4 boards, which is really important. 12x8 they come now. They're enormous.
Say, what's that again?
You've actually got the space to actually manhandle those enormous boards. That was the first lesson. It took us 3 days to make our first cut because we hadn't got anything big enough to lie a board on.
Yeah, you need to be able to handle, raw materials. A lot of times we're buying, 16 footers, or even if it's metal, it could be longer than that. So we do a lot of sheet goods, so we've got to be able to swing 4x8, 5x10 sheets, around pretty easily in here. This door opens up. Actually, it's a sliding door. I'll give you a quick peek into the world of comb manufacturing.
Yeah.
These are all injection molding machines.
How cool.
All the way down there. And there's, I don't know, it's a big building. This building's probably 150,000 square feet. But there's a bunch of injection molding equipment here. They're just pumping out combs all day. And,
wow. That's amazing, eh?
We'll do a quick sheet over here. Take a look at this. There's boxes and boxes of combs.
Oh, wow.
So that's just one pallet of probably,
I want to go to their work party though. They drink a lot of Bud Light, man.
So this door slides open and we can bring the forklift in here to come around from the loading dock. Gives us easy access for freight deliveries and whatnot, which is critical in this environment. We've got all sorts of stuff showing up. Never enough storage space, I'll tell you that much. So as we leave this area, we kind of have this wall here to divide the workshop, the wood shop, to the van shop. Cool. As we come through here, we're stepping into where the vans live. We've got this old, well, not old, it's new, but it's very dusty because this is an old building. So every van that comes in here and goes back out gets a nice detail before it gets delivered. But yeah, we've got...
I'm admiring those wheels. Look at those alloys.
Look at those black plugs for black, and and BF Goodrich. Yeah, those are some nice shoes. We've got three. We have 3 sprinters in the shop at the moment. They are all 170 wheelbase high roofs. One of which, the one we're looking at now, is a 4x4. This is going to be it's really early stage, but it is a adventure wagon build that is going to a local family, a family of 5. So they're going to have seating solutions for 5 and 2 Moab beds to go with their adventure wagon kit. Ooh. And then a whole slew of amazing outside features. They have a powered awning. They have, lights all around on a rack, front and rear bumpers.
Their summer holidays are going to be absolutely awesome. Are they going full time? Are they going to be weekend warriors? Or are they?
They're weekend warriors. They're a really cool, adventurous family, and awesome. I'm excited for them to be able to get out on the road and do some adventuring
in style.
This is another. This is the standard. Well, not the standard. Those are a little different than standard. Those are Mercedes alloys.
They're better than their driving's better than mine. Mine be scratched to hell. I'm not good at parking.
This is a 2018 170 wheelbase Sprinter that came in. This is a custom van that is going to get sort of the works. It's getting suspension, tires, wheels, roof rack, full interior with kitchen, shower, second extra seat for the client's son, and a bed in the back. And it is fairly early state too. We kind of timing wise of projects in the shop right now, we just in the past month and a half, I think, sent out 2-3 vans. So these are all fairly early stage vans. Here we've got some of this engine pulled apart. All 3 of these vans in here are getting secondary alternators that we're adding to create just kind of maximum charge capabilities for the battery banks.
Awesome. What sort of amp hours do you normally put in these kind of vans?
So this particular van will have a 400 amp hour system, lithium. It'll have a 280 amp secondary alternator that we'll be adding on. So we'll be able to charge that from engine on time in a very, very short time period.
Hour and 40 minutes. That's insane.
Yeah, it doesn't charge at 280 amps. But theoretically, you could do that.
You need like a welding cable to handle that.
You do. Yeah. I mean, it depends on the, obviously it all depends on the voltage, but here we got a giant spool of 4-aught cabling. So if you compare that to my thumb.
Wow. That's some juice going through there.
We've got, let's see here. We've got a whole bunch of wire here. There's another spool of 4-aught. We got all sorts of wiring in here that we've got to store for projects. A couple different welding machines over here if we need to get into that. Flammables cabinet, that sort of thing. Got to have the safety precautions in place.
Absolutely.
Some enormous jack stands. We just got a new set of them actually for big vans.
They look spanking.
And this van, as I was gonna start saying this, it's kind of pulled apart because we're adding the secondary alternator on, which is kind of cool. We had to this van had a rooftop factory air conditioning that we had to discharge and remove as the position of the compressor, which is this piece. This is a Sprinter factory rooftop air conditionings run off a secondary compressor. It's not the same compressor than the cockpit air conditioning, and it's in the location where you want to be putting a secondary alternator. So we removed that system to put on this new one. Little additional work to get that done, but we're getting through it. I'll show you a little bit about this. Can't give you a full breakdown on this one because it's got a van life tech system kind of going in right now, which is full 2-stage heat, radiant floor, and air heat.
Oh wow, they went for the full shebang. You told me about that the other day, and it sounds just awesome.
It is a pretty phenomenal product. Yeah, Troy has put together a really well integrated system, and he's an awesome guy to talk to. Yeah, they make a phenomenal product. If you're a deep winter explorer, I highly recommend the VLT system. But you can see some of the our internal framework set up for this one. This one has flares. We've got an AMA window over there, a couple of vent fans. You can see as I mentioned, this one had the factory rooftop air conditioning that we removed. So we put a plate on to cover that up, and then put in place of it a vent fan.
Cool.
And a little bit of upholstery work on the just the cockpit integration that's going on there. Another AMA window. You can see the flare on this side. So get
Awesome.
Arctic turn windows on the sides. We've got an Alvans. We love their products. This is a Sherpa rack that we're going to put some vertical bike racks on for this client.
Awesome.
Let's see what else we got here. We got a big part of an aluminous roof rack right here that's got to go on the van behind me that I was just talking about. Big safari rack. Here's some more of that bamboo. This is actually an adventure wagon panel.
Very nice.
That's going into this other van. And so kind of overstaged by our vans. We have more material positioned here, and it's really for the full builds because you just end up accruing so much stuff. So this rack and this rack are all just one build's worth of stuff. Up there is a build that's going to be happening later on this fall. We've got a massive just stockpile of Havelock wool up there.
Excellent. Yes, that's a product that is really come popular in the last couple of years. It seems like people have cottoned on. You're like, that is the thing to stuff your van with, that Havelock wool. It's really cool.
Is. I mean,
we went for war. It's such a cool material.
It's just a great material. Yeah, they do it. They have a nice product, and I mean, I'm not much one to well, whatever. I like the selections and the components and the partners we work with for good reason. But my environmental and science background will tell you this is all we use, right? We love Havelock wool. Evolution has produced this as an insulator. Why would we use anything other than this? And it's really great for so many reasons: moisture management, fire protection, all sorts of things. Anyways, we store all the products for custom builds and component builds back here. We've kind of got some active work area here, just staging tool sets. What's going on right now in this van is this is another 170 van that's getting an adventure wagon kit at the moment, and you can see all sorts of good wiring happening right now. We got Justin over here, who I like to refer to as Mr. Sparky. He is getting this van wired up right now, starting to get the electrical bay put together. This will also have a 400 amp hour lithium system. This particular van is going to be a Battleborn battery bank system.
Very nice.
The vans we spoke of before are Battleborn system. This is a Lithionics driven battery bank. Those are really the two battery manufacturers that we work with. There are others out there, but we like to kind of keep our offering simple, and I highly recommend either of those. Lithionics is, in my opinion, the number one battery to go with. Also can be the higher cost, but for so many good reasons, and worth the investment.
They're complicated things. They're not just like a load of lithium and acid in a battery. Like I always thought of batteries back in the day. They are clever little bits of kit inside those things.
Yeah, and they're that company specifically they use very high end materials in their batteries. They're custom tested, and made per order, and they're really great to work with. Steven, who owns Lithionics, is an awesome guy, awesome resource, and I've really enjoyed working with them. We've got Eric in here, who's starting to get some of the layout stuff going.
Hey, Eric. Get back to work. Why are you stopping? Don't talk to me.
He and I are going to be probably laying this floor down this afternoon. Let's see. Those are the three builds that are in the shop. I'll peer into this one a little bit more. You can see some just kind of rough plans up here that we've got on that one. This one's going to have
very nice.
Basically plumbing cabinet, electrical cabinet, platform bed, and you can't really see the front of it, but here's what we've got going in here. Electrical setup.
That is what is that? That's huge. Very nice. Is that the Victron?
That's the Victron Multi-Plus. Yep. So
Very
he's
nice.
wiring in the inverter right now, inverter charger. We got our some other Victron components, solar charge controller, shunt, Servo GX, communications. We got our battery bank. We got our display for the servo unit. And then we've just got, the rest of the interior up here. We've got there's going to be a galley that lives right here. So we've got some outlets and a light switch for the upper cabinets, and some outlets, and plank floor right here, because this will be getting 2 passenger seats in the rear.
Nice.
This is a cool build because it's being built here, but when it is complete, it will be being picked up and thrown in a shipping container and brought over to the UK.
No way.
And
is it left-hand drive or right-hand drive?
It's left-hand drive.
Oh wow! No way. How cool.
So it's going to be brought over to over your way, and my client is going to be traveling, living in it.
That's cool. Very cool.
There'll be a Nirvana Upfitters van over your way, across the pond.
Oh, we're gonna hunt it down. We're gonna inspect it for ourselves.
And then, here's a fun little bit. This is Ken, another shop team member. He's getting ready to prep some flare installs. So we just got these back from the paint shop. They're just a white matched paint to go on the stand that we were just looking at. They've got cutouts already for the flare, the Arctic Tern windows that will go in them, and they're looking fresh and ready to go. So we got the holes cut out for them, as you can see, and they'll be going on here either this afternoon or Monday. And that really takes us full circle back into the kind of the clean room work area and supply.
Amazing. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to improv, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you my workshop while you walk there. Mine's very small, and it's also raining.
Okay.
So, let me just dig myself out the van. Oh my word! Here we go. Pull my trousers up. That was good, wasn't it? Team YouTube. Right, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, here we are. There's Team Cuddy. Hello, buddy. This is where we used to cut the wood. On that wall right there, we'd have to like balance like the wood on a little thing. So yeah, that was our wood cutting area. And then this is the brand spanking new motorhome of my dad's. Say hello, Dad.
Oh yeah.
Don't think he was quite expecting that one. And this is our workshop, and it pretty much looked like this while we were working in it. It was full of crap. And you're like, oh, where did we put that screwdriver? And my dad, well, they're in like a.
This is reminiscent of my.
Yeah. Have I still got you? Oh no,
Richard, I think that the service is cutting out a little bit.
I know what I did. I think I put it on my phone. I'm gonna run back. Okay. Are you with me again?
Yeah, you're back. That shop is very it probably looks very similar to the shop that I started in my my family's driveway and the garage there.
Yeah, it's I admire people who manage to build vans not in a workshop. I'm amazed that people can do that. It's not that we had much of a workshop, but at least we had somewhere to store tools that they had at home rather than in the van that you're working on. So kudos to anybody doing that. It's really impressive.
Agreed. And kudos to you, because you made it happen and you did it.
Yeah, I'll have to send you a GIF or somewhere on that. I've got my dad like kneeling on an 8x10 board, sawing it by hand because we couldn't quite get a straight enough line with a circular saw. Because yeah, when it really mattered on those bigger cuts, you're like, we'll do it by hand. Cool, mate. Thank you so much for that tour. That was fascinating. Like, I don't know whether you could see on your screen, but I was glued and like looking at everything. I'll have to like edit myself out after.
I'm glad when you come over here, make it over this way. Absolutely. I'd love to show you the shop in person as well.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I'd love that. Cool. All right. We're going to wrap it up there, I think. It's been awesome. Do you want to just tell everybody, just recap for everybody at home, what it is you do, where they can find you, and how best to get in contact if they need anything?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks. So, Nirvana Upfitters, right?
Yeah.
We're really, much like a lot of custom builders out there, we're designing and building custom vans for folks to travel in. Nirvana is highly focused on what I refer to as kindling passions. There's a lot of stuff out there, and to be quite frank, we all love the Instagram, the TikTok, and seeing the awesome van footage, the photos, and this, that, and the next thing. But really, it's important to think about the people. If you take a look at the mission of Nirvana Upfitters, we really have a 3-stage mission. And there's a product mission, which is really to craft the highest end custom vans, using aesthetic design and precision engineering. We want to culture adventurous lives doing that. We've got a social mission that is really, we want to operate a conscious business that positively impacts the world, because we value people, we value communities, and we value the environment. And that's where the people really reign in key there. And then, we have a financial mission as well. We want to manage a stable business marked by stable growth and just financial strengths, so that our employees, our partners, and our supporters can flourish. And back to that kind of that middle. Well, first off, the 3-stage mission. It's kind of taken from a piece from Ben and Jerry's. They were one of the earliest to adapt. I think, if not the earliest to adopt a three-stage mission, and we're big fans of them. But the people really is what drives what we're doing here. It's really important to see the community, to talk to these individuals. And as I said, where it starts with us in a build is really getting to understand who the person is and how we can adapt and design a layout in a component or a conversion project that will really support their lifestyle. We want to kindle passions, and part of that people. And I think this is another reason, Nirvana Upfitters really focuses on who you are and who the client is, and how we can best support what their endeavors are and their pursuits are. Part of that people is that I'm incredibly fortunate to have a phenomenal team here. I talk a lot about it to our customers. The team that we've got here, you met some of the guys. A few of the folks are out today. They're really, they're the stake behind Nirvana Upfitters. They are very aligned with the culture that we've put together here. We all support and kind of live by that mission that we've put together as a company, and it's what allows us to function in a very efficient manner, and just create a really well-rounded, great culture that we love, coming and supporting one another and building awesome vans for awesome people. I kind of mentioned it earlier on, but the van life community is in the van conversion business is very self-selecting for awesome people, right? Most people are adventurous, and that's another part of why I just love working with the people. And I'd say that that's really, I think, what stands out to me and makes us a little bit from the rest of the pack. And we're doing fun things, and we love to work with more people. The best way is to find us. We're in Leominster, Massachusetts, central Massachusetts, New England territory. We can be found online at nirvanaupfitters.com, or contacted info@nirvanaupfitters.com is our kind of our general email inbox.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, no, everybody check it out. Check out their Instagram as well. They've got some amazing footage of their awesome vans, and all over their website. It's been a pleasure to meet you and the team and see the workshop and learn everything about you, man. For sure, when I'm in North America, when that travel corridor opens, I'm hopping a flight, and hopefully we'll be able to meet in person and get a face-to-face, as it were.
That sounds phenomenal. Yeah, I would really appreciate the opportunity to come on today, Richard, and chat. Yeah. And I'm also really looking forward to kind of how we came to interact, to see your product launch, and how we can interface it with some of our builds. I really think that what you're bringing to the table is going to be a big component to kind of change the game for van life toilet. And it's a hot topic, and I think you got a great solution for it. Can't wait to see it.
Thanks, Jude. You're a hero. I'll pay you later. No, thanks, buddy. We'll catch you again, and you look after yourself. Give our love to the team. Thanks, everybody, for having us.
Will do. Take it
care,
easy.
Man. Bye, mate.